Yeah, I was
Thanks.
excited that they're at 900, no, at 800.
They're at like 9.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Board of Parks Commissioner meeting for Thursday, December 7th, 2023. Our first item on the agenda is roll call. Commissioner Davidson,
Here.
Commissioner Isaacson,
Here.
Commissioner Moxley, Commissioner Ross.
Here.
Commissioner Sally, Commissioner Sheriff,
Here.
Commissioner Usry,
Here.
and Commissioner Wright here. Item number 1, consideration of approval, rejection, amended, and/or postponement of minutes from October 5th, 2023 Park Board meeting. Did everybody get a chance? Thank you for sending them out early. You're welcome. To read over those?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve or?
I motion we approve. I'll second that.
Christie and Liz, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Commissioner Sally is here.
Yeah, I text you back. I did mute.
Okay, item number 2, consideration of approval, rejection, amended, and/or postponement of previously approved council actions. What do you got for us?
All right, real quick, everything that we kind of had ran through council in November, we have our yearly rebate from Pepsi Beverage Company. This is separate from our, I think we get about $7,000 a year to sell Pepsi products at Westwood, but this is a rebate from all the products that we purchased, and that came in the amount of $348. We also had a contract approved, which y'all heard about a few months ago with the Boys and Girls Club to run programming at the Reeves Park Center. We're super excited to get that building activated inside Reeves Park. We had a little bit more than $37,000 transferred into our senior wellness project. This was a item that it was kind of a correction item from the month before. This was a rebate from, or basically a development agreement with our neighbor that would be to the west of us out there. They split the road costs with us, the fire safety road, and that was this. We previously accepted that money, but we did not put it into the contract or into the construction account, so we were running low in our construction fund, so we needed that money deposited in there. Resolution for our park master plan, that was also passed last month, and I believe that was this acknowledgement of committee and subcommittee members, and then we have our own Veronica Tracy sit on the committee for United Way for city employees, and there was a proclamation that recognized them. Will they answer any questions about items approved through council?
No questions? Thank you. Okay, item number, goodness gracious, I can't read tonight. Number 3. Consideration of approval, rejection, amended, and/or postponement of land or fee in lieu of parkland for the University North Park Entertainment District PUD addition.
Hello, it's me, James, from Park Development. UNPED, this is, quote, the arena. That whole area up there, it's coming in as one massive plat. As you saw in your agenda item, it's about a half mile of strip of land between 24th and I-35. Can we go to the slide showing that? So it's that area in red there, basically north of Rock Creek Road. Sorry, look out. I'm going to lose Mary down here. So about halfway up is Radius Way. That's that drive that connects across 24th. As you can see, attached to the letter from the developer, we're talking about, to back up, there's going to be 97 units of single family, if you can go to that. Up on the north end, it's laying on its side, so north is actually to the left. So up in that area, there's a sort of a residential component on the far, far north end. has a clubhouse, pool, and some area around for playground, things like that, and that big island in the middle of the residential. I don't know if we, is this actually, yeah, right there. And then a series of open spaces that include ponds and just little pocket areas for other things they talk about in their letter, passive areas for picnicking, things like that, landscape areas, but a lot of trails. So the density of apartments and single-family, it's apartments in these buildings out in here, and then single-family back in this area. That density would require a 3.9 acre public park requirement if we want to do a public park. However, they have so much land available in that north area alone that they meet the double that requirement for parkland if you're going to do a private park. Also in their letter, talk about there's a whole area south of Radius Way, or to the right half of this picture, that has a lot more green space, walking trails, things that are the idea, I think, and the developer and their representatives are here to talk about this if you want to have any questions about that. To develop this all as a big walkable area that goes north to south, and they'll have trails connecting that. We can't really count the arena, we can't, count the clubhouse itself, but as far as a lot of the green open space, including places like urban plaza areas where they can set up for festival-y kind of stuff, is included. So, saying all that and having said all the things that are in there, there's a total of another 9 acres to the south. So if you combine north and south halves, there's about 17 acres of open space that they would be obligated to provide park-like improvements in. That's what we do with all our private parks, is you build a playground. You have some areas, I think that's missing. There's no one large area for, say, a large ball practice. But again, that's happened in other places. Think of Greenleaf Trails and Little River Trails, where they have a lot of trail space and they connect to other more recreational areas. Saying and seeing all that, and we'll still collect the community park fees for these units as they build out. I think it's 63,000 plus that's collected at the time of final platting and building permits for the residential housing. We don't collect any kind of fees or land for the commercial and institutional, of which there's a lot in that southern half, but again, that's not considered as part of the park decision. So saying all that, and what we have written about this, if you go, is there another exhibit? I don't think there is. Okay. So saying all that, we're certainly here to answer questions, but we are in favor of recommending a private park decision. I know this is going through several iterations. There's no final plan for this yet for many of these things. So they don't have the details of what would be in, but again, their letter is a commitment to build trails and playground area and things like that. So I'll stop talking and see if you have questions for myself or the partners over there, the developers.
I just wanted some clarity that the actual request, I guess, that we're approving is the North Parkland, or is it a more general?
Well, we can't consider just the north because the plat is the entire thing.
Gotcha.
They're only
That's what
required to
kinda-
provide parkland based on the residential stuff that's in the north.
Gotcha.
But per the letter and per me trying to say it in a concise way,
I read it,
we are
yeah.
accounting for all of the green space north and south, even though south isn't required to provide anything. But it is one plat,
Gotcha.
so you'll never see the rest of it as a separate plat because one that's all commercials, I don't think there is. I mean, that's the plan. Is that correct? No residential south of Radius Way?
That's correct, and if I could maybe talk about.
Come
it
up
in the
if you
map.
want, Sean.
Thank you.
Can you tell who you are so she can get it in the?
Yes, so I'm Sean Rieger, representing the developer in this action, and I appreciate James describing that. Let me maybe describe a little more and maybe answer your question a little closer. So maybe I just orient you to this whole big project. The red, or crimson, I should have said crimson.
Yeah, come on.
Is the event venue, arena, basically 8,000 seat arena. And then you see the parking areas, the light blue, this area basically is significant entertainment zone. So this would be restaurants, bars, retail, some office, but mainly that is a significant retail and restaurant area. This street, all of these streets are private streets, and that's intentional so that we can close them. And so what we intend is to have a fairly significant pedestrian promenade that is closed probably fairly often, every game day probably, and festivals and events, so that becomes a pretty significant pedestrian promenade in between a tight area between the restaurants and entertainment zone. This arena dumps out into that zone and also has a little public area here, significant public area here, and significant public area over here. This is the delivery zone, so this really isn't But as to Jane's point, the residential is all north, and I'll get to that, but we do envision that these areas be public plaza spaces. Then this area is intended to be more of a conference center, hospitality area, hotels, conference building, offices, things like that. And we intend, you don't even see a street here, this would be a pedestrian urban promenade of that area. So the idea is that this street can be closed, and this is a significant pedestrian experience here, and winds all the way through around the arena, then right through here. And as James mentioned, this is Radius Way. This is a public street right here. And everything in orange is, and we should have shown a different color than orange.
Burnt
but,
orange.
But everything in orange is residential. Fairly high density residential here, townhomes down here. And as James mentioned, this is all single family. It's really called single family. I really wouldn't call it that because these are very small lots. These are 3,000 square foot lots. Typical single family in Norman is 6,000 square foot lots minimum. So these are tight with ADUs, accessory dwelling units, so that's a really pretty tight product. But as you start to see here, pedestrian promenade through here, all around the arena, a big urban promenade for pedestrians through there, and then it continues on through here as a pedestrian experience here, and on up through here, and then to a pedestrian or a common area with clubhouse, pool, and play areas for, basically focus for the residential area. In fact, that's what this one would be too, so kind of this whole spike through there.
I think we talked about the south pond too, having trails around it,
We
so.
did, the letter from the engineer suggests that this will be trails around that pond as well. So that's kind of the whole atmosphere of the proposal, I think. This is a parking garage, by the way, I should have mentioned this. This
It
is about 1,200 cars. Intentional again, I wish I could show you in comparison to over here, but we really don't have that much surface parking because a lot of it is right there.
There's the south part below it, so you can see
Yeah,
that.
you kind of see large parking and big box. That is really not what this one is intended to be. This one is to be more smaller zones and with that large pedestrian urban promenade that runs through it, so.
That's kind of why I gave you the total green space of north and south, but still we're only requiring and accounting for the people living in the north half.
That's where I got confused.
Okay.
That's what's driving
Yeah,
that.
nothing in the south is driving parkland decisions. They just happens to be one plat, so there is more green space than what is in the residential area.
So you can use that south green space to fulfill it.
You don't even need to. It's over and above what's in the, yeah, that's just extra.
Yeah,
Parking,
Go back.
two. I said
Where?
parking.
gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's parking on the south end of the arena, right?
Yes.
That's a surface lot, right?
Correct, this is surface lot, and as James right, north is left. So I-35 is right here. This is Rock Creek Road, and that's 24th Avenue right there.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
And our goal was to have, even though this is a public street, to have pedestrian access here that connects to the Terra Apartments, which is right here, and the Sooner Station and Senior Living Apartments, which are right there.
Are they gonna require a traffic light on the frontage road right there where Radius Way comes out? I
I don't know yet, the
mean, you see it up in
TIA
Moore where they have that, yeah. Okay.
TIA just came out yesterday, so I haven't studied through on that yet, but there's significant traffic improvements
yeah.
planned for there.
Thank you for-
Are the properties, like, will they have like zero lot line or what?
The PUD is written, and you're talking about single family up here. The PUD is written right now to say if it is common ownership between lots, there is no lot line. They can actually build as a townhouse model.
Okay.
Back and forth. We're actually back and forth right now with the planning department on that very point.
I understand.
To decide whether they agree for that or not,
Okay.
but, yeah. That's the proposal right now.
Okay.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification,
Welcome.
both of you.
Thank you, guys. Happy to answer any other questions.
Any other questions, comments? Thoughts? Do I have a motion based on what the staff has recommended?
I'll make a motion, whatever the staff recommended. Sorry.
Say private park somewhere in there.
Yeah, yeah. Somewhere.
I'll second it.
Okay. Okay. So So does everybody understand that, based on the staff recommendation and the motion, that this would be private park decision with a commitment of, how many acres? Oh, what was it? 7.9082 acres, is that right?
They show 7.908, yeah. If you count the south, it's, I can't remember, is it 16.8? It's almost 17 acres, if you count them together.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, James. Item number 4, consideration of approval, rejection, amended and/or postponement of land or fee in lieu of parkland for the Sooner Village PUD addition.
Hi, I'm James. I don't know how else to start this. It's super awkward. Can we go to the location map? This is Sooner Village. You can see what we wrote in there. It's basically the intersection of Highway 9 and Jenkins. It's that odd-shaped end of the quarter section that goes down to the point, basically level with the treatment facility. It's a plat that's mostly, if you go to the next one, I'll toggle back and forth. The next one, maybe. There you go. Mostly being developed on the west side as commercial. There's a gas station at the intersection, some office space below that, a lot of mini storage, and but once you get across the open spaces A, B, and D, there's a lot of development for lots of are they townhomes, mix of townhomes. I should read what I put in here. Townhomes, apartments, and duplexes. So total of 211 units. All of RM6 type development, so based on that, there's only a 0.9 acre parkland requirement. Twice that for a private park would be 1.86 acres. Altogether, if you start looking at the open spaces that are available down there, and if you go to the next one, I'm sorry. Oh, is there another one? No, go the other way. That was it? Okay. There's also these areas in the neighborhood where it's like that's a volleyball court right there, and sort of an open lot. This is a playground type area right here. I guess I didn't include. I think I did in the park board packet. There were several pages, and another area down here. So there's several pieces of park-like land plus a lot of open space that has ponds and walking trails similar to what you just saw from the other one. A lot of this area over in this open space C falls off into the sort of blue line flood area. You can't count that type of area, but there is still this amount of land that goes in there. All total over 10 acres of open space if you count all those little pocket areas in the residential component and then all the open space in between the commercial and residential. And again, based off of all that, we'd rather not get a 0.9 acre public park, and they're pretty far over the 1.8 acre private park decision, so they're asking for a private park as well. Again, and they'll be obligated to make park-like improvements. If you go back, I'm sorry, to the location map, the only neighborhood park, we didn't go for a neighborhood park fee in lieu of land, because the people living there really don't have a route to Eagle Cliff Park, which is the nearest public park. You'd have to either go out on Highway 9 or probably trespass through some properties to get over to Eagle Cliff neighborhood, and we don't like to encourage that type of activity. If you keep going south, Jenkins just sort of bears to the west and becomes Bratcher Minor Road, so there's nothing down there residential, and then you get into a lot of floodway. So this is sort of a standalone neighborhood in the stuff they have. I believe it even includes a hotel, possibly on the east end of that point. And developer representatives are here as well for this one if they have questions, but based on all we see here, the inability to spend a fee in lieu of this one and the small size of the public park, we'd recommend taking a private park decision for Sooner Village. We'll take questions if you have them.
So would the tree line along the waterway
Mm-hmm.
be cut down because it's right up against it?
Well, you can see, if we can zoom, well, we can't zoom in. You see on the red, sort of the east end of that red line, you're up at the top of the slope. So there's really nothing, there's any development's going to clear trees and things and do what they do, but all of that wooded area in between the red and the stream, that's they can't develop that. That'll stay
as is.
wooded.
Okay.
You can kind of see if you go to the next one. The next one, I'm sorry. all that
Yeah,
way.
it
They don't
looks- it
show
looked
the trees
clear
on there,
there,
so
so I was
it's
like,
kind
I
of
don't know.
deceptive, yeah.
It's on this.
Yeah, you can see it on the
On the
screen.
satellite.
So yeah, it's, but they're not clearing that to my knowledge. None of that gets clear, correct?
That's
Okay.
correct, yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's outside our property, so we would have no right.
Yeah, that's
to
true.
go beyond that.
Right,
at all.
okay. Because that would help clear water, any runoff from the
Mm-hmm.
housing and so forth. And remind me again, what is this waterway? Is this?
Which-
what
is that-
Creek?
It's Bishop's Creek.
Is that Bishop Creek?
that's
Okay,
it,
yeah,
okay.
it's Bishop.
Just wanted to confirm that, okay.
We're too far west to be blue, so that's
Yeah.
Bishop.
That's right.
Any questions, comments,
Yeah.
thoughts?
In the staff recommendation, and I may have just misread it, there was still sort of this, they recommended the private park as long as the active and passive. And because it's sort of awkward because of the places that are not allowed to be considered parkland, who oversees to make sure they come in compliance with?
They have to
that?
provide us, the receipts, essentially. They tell us, hey, we just spent X amount of money on play equipment, or we put in so many, 1,000 feet of walking trail.
And they
So
tell
we
you
go,
where.
literally, it's our job to go see that it happened.
Gotcha.
And then they bond that dollar amount, and then we release their bond, basically, once they have satisfied that. So we take their money, and it makes them do stuff, so.
Right.
And then we don't take their money, they bond their money, and then we don't take it if they do stuff.
Gotcha. Thank
Has it
you.
ever happened that they haven't?
Oh, we could go into big, long stories about things that happened on the far northwest part of town with people that may or may not be still developing, so. But no, generally it always
Okay.
happens.
Sure.
Yeah, there've been occasions where people get a private decision and go, well, I really don't feel like it anymore, and you say, well, then we'll take your money. All right, I'll do it. Or they go to jail.
Okay.
Go to jail.
Not from us, but from other things. They had other things that sent them to jail.
Or we
Maybe
never
not go
put
to-
streets into it.
But equivalent almost to a developer to going to jail is they are barred from getting certificates of occupancy
Right.
of their properties
Oh,
to,
sure,
for
sure.
people to occupy them.
Yeah, planning department calls us, says, hey, have they fulfilled this? And we say yes or no, and then they can get their building permits and do things, so.
So it's
Is it-
been, like, shown that, like, the flooding does not go up beyond that, right? So we're not putting housing in a flood zone, correct?
Correct, yeah, and just to clarify, Commissioners, the only flood zones and floodplains
Right
are right
adjacent to
here.
it.
So there are no floodplains, flood zones, no WQBZs,
Mm-hmm.
none of that. I think the staff report mentioned a blue line.
Yeah.
There are blue lines which are regulated streams, but those are different than floodways. and
Right.
floodplains.
Sorry, I may have misspoken that. And I'm basically saying that any of that stuff isn't developable, so it's not even in their development. So there's stuff, I'm just emphasizing that to the east of this development, you can't even develop. So there's nothing coming in the future either. So we don't anticipate a lot of demand on any kind of parkland here from like 10 times more development coming in right next door.
Shack, please.
Right, because you get into that industrial Shackley, and if there'd been a way to connect these people physically over to Eagle Cliff, we probably would've taken recommended a fee in lieu. But just, these people aren't gonna make it to Eagle Cliff. If they leave the neighborhood, they're in a car and they can go to wherever they want, so we didn't necessarily think it was the logical. Is there a connection to Eagle Cliff coming? Am I wrong? Is there a bridge coming later? Is the
We would love to
Independence
have a
Valley
connection.
gonna happen?
And this is the problem right here. So this is Bishop's Creek, and there is no bridge there.
Right.
No passageway. We would love for there to be a bridge there. I know Councilmember Holman would love for there to be a bridge there, but I think it's pretty far down on the list of priorities.
Isn't this where the old Independence Valley plat came in years ago and it had that whole thing with the bridge proposed? It was a big development that
Yeah.
got truncated and expired.
So, we'd love for it, but there's just no means to do it right now. So.
Anyway,
Other questions? Comments? Do I have a motion? In favor?
In favor of the staff's recommendation here.
For private park decision? Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mary? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Say aye. Opposed, same sign? Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to move to item 6 to be, can't even consider it to our guest here. So, consideration of approval, rejection, amended, and/or postponement of a Wildwood Community Church Bridge request in the Hall Park Greenbelt. These are getting longer and longer, aren't they? That I have to say.
We're just trying to
So,
test your
yeah, I
reading.
know, I have to slow down.
Linguistic
Okay,
challenge.
so who is talking about this?
I can off the cuff. I don't have a staff report for you, but would you like to?
You like
No, you go right ahead.
I'm Mark Robinson. I'm senior pastor at Wildwood. We've got Herschel Thompson from our staff also, as well as Ryan Eshelman, who's one of our lay elders at our church, and then Tony Bragg, who's our architect with TMP. And we are just blessed to be a part of City of Norman. Been in Norman now for 55 years. You go to the first slide. We are out in Hall Park. We're basically the only thing in Hall Park right now that's not a home. But we have loved calling that our home since 1986. And so over the last number of years, we've taken the old Redlands Racket Club and developed it as a church facility and added to it. And right now there is, between 2,000 and 3,000 people who are gathered on weekends for worship there. If you go to the next slide, back in 2008, we came before this group about getting access to complete a bridge to connect our existing facility with land that we acquired from the city in a land trade, so that we might be able to develop additional parking. And so we built this bridge. It's a wood bridge that goes through city parkland, but connects our building to the parking lot. What we've seen over the last number of years is that bridge has been very valuable, not only to us as a congregation, but also to the neighborhood. People get their senior pictures taken on that bridge. It kind of winds through the trees. There have been multiple weddings out there and those kinds of things. And so we've been fortunate to be able to have that. Over the last several years, Wildwood has continued to grow, which has led us into a situation where we are looking for some additional land to be able to expand a little bit further. And amazingly, there's still land around us to do that, including land immediately to our south. And so if you go to the next slide, you'll see that right now we're currently next week we'll open this section up here as parking, where we'll have that parking to the north. But this land here to the south, 4 lots, we're in negotiations right now for the purchase of those lots that could also be developed into additional parking in the future. But it puts us in a situation where we would love to be able to connect this land with our facility also in a similar style to what we've done in the north. And so the best way to do that would be twofold. One would be a path that would be along the street side, making it a nice wide sidewalk to make it walkable from here to there. And the second way would be to bridge this access at a key point with a spanned bridge that would be in similar style and aesthetics to what we've done in the north, so that we could have 2 access points. But that would require us going across city parkland in order to do that. If you look at the next, this shows these are the 4 lots that we are in negotiation for right now. The rest of this land we will not own. It will be land that at some point will be developed for other purposes. But these lots here would be ours, potentially for parking, and we would like to bridge it. Next slide shows location. We would like to bridge it in roughly this location, because there's some contours of the land that make that the most, the easiest place to bridge across that direction. If you go to the next slide, you can see kind of some overheads, both to where the sidewalk would be to connect across here. This is along 24th Street, as well as the location where the new bridge would come across there. And if you keep going, this shows the location of our current bridge that we built back in 2008. And then the next slide will show kind of what that looks like and the aesthetic of it, trying to keep it looking natural. Some of the benefits is we do see people walk there a lot. People, not just church members, people in the community walk through there. They're able to park in our parking lot. They're able to access across that way. The path around our building in the backside, the city path. Sometimes we'll get backed up with water, and so people will walk and use the bridge to kind of circumvent that, walking through the parking lot in order to continue to maneuver around our neighborhood. We would envision the north parking, or the south parking lot, the new parking lot, working similarly. Neighbors, people in the community could park there and then go for a walk and access all that trail system through Hall Park. That's generally the idea. Tony, anything I left out of significance?
I don't think so. I think it's just the connectivity that we're trying to further. I think it's a great addition to the neighborhood and for everyone around, because Wildwood Church does not fill that parking lot that we're working on to the south 24/7. So it's an opportunity for the community to be able to connect that existing trailway. I think frankly a little easier and safer than crossing 24th Street.
The only difference between the two bridge designs is obviously this is just spanning a waterway. We'll be spanning a pedestrian path, so this proposed bridge would have a higher clear span so that you could bike and walk underneath that, but it would be a similar design and aesthetic. And there would be no restriction to the public accessing it. Obviously, from our parking lot is not gated, so someone can park in there and walk either direction to connect through.
Even in the manner with which this bridge was built, we replicate that to the other side. Very minimal trees have to be touched because it actually adds to the beauty of the bridge for it not just being a straight line, but for it to meander through the trees from one side to the other.
So I believe the request here is to grant Wildwood Church an easement to build a bridge connecting their property through a city park. Their properties through a city park.
So all construction cost and maintenance, future maintenance is all on,
Yeah, we would grant them the easement, and that would be what the easement would be for. They would be responsible for everything that has to do with the bridge. We're not accepting the bridge later.
Can you go back to the plat? Because I'm not quite understanding the part that is park, because I don't know this area as well.
It's a
There.
very good
See that
question.
green?
This is a green belt.
So
that
any of
wraps
that in the green, and I mean, I was assuming that, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
sorry.
want to make sure
Yeah.
that is,
And it wraps all the way back around and reconnects with 24th.
okay.
Our existing facility is somewhat of an island surrounded by a green belt in Hall Park.
So all of that is, okay.
and that's a walking path that goes all the way around in that back.
Into the
Here's the
housing.
walking.
Yeah.
It goes,
So that part is the
well, it
walking,
lines up with
okay.
that, yeah, with that green belt in Hall Park. See where the
Yeah,
word Hall
that
Park is?
would
That's
That's
that
what
big
I'm
white
saying,
green
it'd be
belt.
taller
Yep.
to span
Goes all the way to the
over
lake
that.
That's
down there in Hall
Hall
Park. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a pretty good drop when you turn to go north on 36 or 24th, the road falls. So there's a pretty good drop from the red lots you see down to the church parking lot. So we're coming from a high point on the south over that walking path and landing on a low point down at our existing parking lot.
That's the low point, basically right in there where the stream comes across. But this lines up with across the street, if you're out familiar with the area, this is all Hall Park Greenbelt. And there's a walking trail that leads back to the lake there. So this technically could be the same color green as that, 'cause it's all one big green belt that, back in '07, we did a land swap and gained this piece right here in exchange for the lot they built up north so that we could have this contiguous amount of area. And then we built, with maybe a grant and some of the church funds, and we built the trail that wraps around back behind there.
I need to walk that
It's
green
nice.
belt, because I haven't been over
Oh, it's
there.
nice.
Trail.
It's
a nice one.
And
We
it's
should
nice
go.
back there.
amazing.
technically on
I
the
walked
on the north end of that trail, you can walk along 24th and get to the DoubleTree belt that goes behind that addition. So it's kind of like this big long trail all through Hall Park.
It's all wooded, I
Have
mean,
been
it's
to
really,
tr-
really nice, and it's back behind these houses, and it's, yeah, it's,
A walk back there tonight is a 2-mile loop from the church up past DoubleTree and then back around, all through trails. It's really nice.
Okay.
So it looks like the requested bridge is maybe twice, the south bridge is maybe twice as long as the north bridge? Is my perspective kind of,
It easily could be.
yeah,
It'll be a more expensive bridge because it's longer and it has to be higher.
and higher, yeah, okay.
That's why we're not building it. It's too
Right,
expensive.
I was trying to visualize, oh, I understand, I got that. I was just trying to visualize.
We would do a low water crossing where you would just walk through the ditch. That's more our style.
I know.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, there's no staff report, but basically, yeah, that's the request, is to
Just for the easement.
get an easement across the parkland to build a bridge.
That'd be a motion.
Yeah.
Any other questions or anything?
I don't know.
So, yeah.
I like that idea. It sounds pretty good.
Questions, comments? Do I have a motion?
So we're gonna make a motion to grant them an easement? Or
Recommend
I mean,
a recommendation of an easement.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Pedestrian easement.
Well, I'll make that recommendation.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Go back to that one second.
No, I got it. Opposed, same sign? Okay. So next up. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Check that out.
Okay, now we're gonna go back to item number 5. Consideration of approval, rejection, amended and/or postponement of an update regarding the Young Family Athletic Center policy and fee schedule.
So I'm sure that you're going to see these almost every month, and probably maybe even into a few months after we open. Council purposely gave you, park board, the right to recommend to the director to make adjustments to policies that has to do with the YPAC and basically recommendations for us to sign, or the director to sign contracts. So just reminding everybody, it's a Norm 4 project, a little bit of background that goes along with that. Give you a little bit of update. So this is kind of do your IFAC update as we progress into the pictures that are after this one. There we go. There's this, took that off of our construction cam that's out there today. You'll see that a lot of progression being made. They're starting to work on landscaping out there. A lot of the parking lot this week got its second layer of asphalt, and they're painting in parking spots. You can see some of the trees that are going in on the outside of it. There's a lot of landscaping that comes with this. It's such a large property, and the standards of the UMP has we have to match those. So keep going. Right here is this little peek into where the concession stand would go, and the eating area or the lobby area that goes along with that. This would, both these areas will be the responsibility of our concessionaire, which we'll talk about here in a second. Here's an updated picture of the pool area. We kind of paused on construction right there. We're kind of at the point where there's not a whole lot left to do until they come back and plaster the pool and fill the area. There's a little bit of electrical work that needs to be done out there, and we still have to hang our scoreboards. This is a peek into down the hall. They got the finished concrete in there. You can see that they have the basketball lane, the three-point line. That is where the retail space will go. That's the Adidas area. A picture of what the basketball courts are now done and complete. They're absolutely beautiful. As you can see that we decided we couldn't figure out which way to run the wood because we do have courts going in either direction, so we decided to, what the heck, let's put those in at an angle, and we think it worked out really, really nice.
So the humidity and all that worked out.
The contractor actually had to put down a sealer on the cement that helped the concrete lose its humidity. Right now, there's still a little bit of things to do in the gym area. Every time that we bring a lift in there, or the contractor brings a lift, us in the future as well, we have to put down blankets and 2 pieces of plywood, or we basically scrap our warranty, so we don't want to do that. What's left in there is a little bit of electrical work, scoreboards to be mounted, and you can, back there between the 4 and the 6, you can see all the span metal that will support the video board. This is a view from the upstairs of Norman Regional Space. We'll be using this a lot for hospitality rooms, but as you can see, it's an awesome view of the basketball courts. I accidentally just put that picture in there twice, so forgive me. I think that first one was the mistake, but this one is our recreation pool, 25 yards, 4 lanes wide. Doesn't have a ramp going in there. We have to have 2 ADA accesses accessibility points to every pool. This one, not as warm as the Adult Wellness and Education Building. They keep theirs about between 86 and 88 degrees, which I consider that bath water.
Oh, it's nice.
This one will be in the lower 80s, so not as hot.
So competitive temperatures?
Actually,
is that
the
a little
recreation pool will be kept in the lower 80s, and then the competition pool will be
In the, so,
high 60s. It'll be
Yeah,
way,
okay.
way cooler. This is a little picture of what the locker rooms are turning out to look like. So you saw this last part where we brought you a policy, which I believe you did adopt the policy, but you did not adopt our hours. So we're bringing two options to you tonight. One will be what we think you requested, which was Sundays, open Sundays, and we're kind of we did drop our minimum hours that we'd be open a week, which is kind of 80 hours, which I thought from what we heard, you'd rather us lower the hours and be available more days, and promise that we make sure that we leave everything open for our residents here in Norman, at least 70 hours, and we did a committee meeting with council right before this. They've kind of suggested that we remove the words, they want to make sure there's 70 hours of passive activities, which basically leaves, we might take out the words planned or planned, so that we have passive activity, and that would basically be for members to come in and do anything that's unprogrammed, that's not us running programs. That's also something that they could, same thing in the pool. We won't have planned programs out there. This is an area where they can go exercise or do classes, or excuse me, it would just be exercise or just free swim in the recreation pool. And this is our second option, which is something we also suggested, or I think that we heard, if we do close on Sundays, we want to add the phrase, the YFAC will be open a minimum of 100 hours of community open gym swim annually for Norman residents at no cost. That means that we would open either for on Sundays or after hours, like for midnight basketball or something like that, at no cost to the public during non-regular operating hours. So that's just still us closing on Sundays, but also saying that we will open on Sundays, but just a lower amount of hours. But when we open up Sundays or do midnight basketball, you don't have to be a member to come in. So it would be open to the community. So we'll come back and kind of get y'all's opinion on this. I'll run through this really quick. This little update, I think y'all know kind of what's going on with our community partners. We did approve Optimus basketball last park board. We have sent contracts to Norman Public Schools, Sooner Swim Club, Rides Volleyball. Sooner Swim Club, $15 an hour and 25% of swim meet and duels. I kind of skipped one right there. Norman Public Schools is what we sent them is a $50,000 per year and for time for practices or non-ticketed events where they can come in there and do camps or whatnot, as long as they're not charging anybody money. If they do start charging people money, if that's admission or camps of something, we're just asking for 20% of whatever they charge. Rise Volleyball is a club that we ended up choosing that we think that will be a benefit to our community. We don't have too many clubs available here in the Norman area, so we have a contract sent to them that it's $50,000 per year, and that'll be up to 1,250 hours. We also, this would be a council the next, on the 12th. We have entered into, or we have an agreement from Beanstalk signed, ready to be approved by council. It means a local business will be operating their concession stand. They will have an exclusive food and beverage provider of the YFAC. They will have a concession stand and tournament lounge, which is about 1,150 square feet. Beanstalk has said that there will be hours, will match the hours of operation of the YFAC. Beanstalk will have full control of the menu, but the city will retain pour rights. Pour rights is when we sign a contract with either Pepsi or Coca-Cola. It's basically saying that we get to pick that and we get to receive all the benefits of the contract. Beanstalk has full rights of catering inside the YFAC. So any event that happens in there, if it's a tournament or an event that's in the gym, because that basically could also be used as a convention space, that they have full rights to cater those. Nobody else can do that. They are going to be working with a lot of local. If you talk to Beanstalk, they're all about local, working with people in our community. So they'll be working with local businesses and local caterers to provide that. But the city is exempt from its own events. So if we put on an event like a daddy-daughter dance,
I was gonna say, can you do the daddy-daughter dance in there now?
we can do dances or something over there. It's big enough. If we do our own event, we're allowed to do our own catering. So we don't have to go through Beanstalk's. The term of the lease is Beanstalk will pay $35 per square foot, which is the going market rate inside the UMP. It's actually a little bit higher than the going market rate. That's the top end, which equals about $40,250 a year plus 2% of all sales. Lease will include with the city will pay all utilities excluding the internet. Beanstalk can use our free public Wi-Fi, but we do not guarantee that the Wi-Fi will be working all the time for them, so it's probably best if they get their own internet. Agreement will automatically renew annually up to 5 years. Also inside this agreement, we have agreed to offer them signage once we get a sign built on 24th and Rock Creek. We also agreed to help them market for their event. We've also said that they can put their own marketing brand up on the windows, which is in front of the tournament lounge. Beanstalk has to use their own equipment. We're not offering any equipment. They're also doing what is left of their build out. They have to insure their business and their own employees, and termination clauses are 90 days with cause, 60 days without cause, which I always think's backwards, but that's what the lawyers told me we had to do. So, real quick about Beanstalk. Any questions about Beanstalk?
Are they local?
I mean, or
Yes.
they Eskimo snow.
They are.
They have now
Green.
three stores in Norman, one on Main Street, one on the east side, and one on the west side. This would be, they're gonna treat this like their store, and that'll be in the UMP area. This is just kind of a map of what areas that they have to them and how we came up to the 1,150-ish feet. We're also working with Trey Young for the Trey Young Family Foundation to kind of enter into an additional agreement. When we came to you last time, I think we were talking about the hospital operating the Adidas store. That has changed now. The Young Family Foundation wants to operate it. Their operator is a local business that is in Norman that is going to come in there and operate it. Y'all would recognize it very easily. We're not ready to kind of leak that information yet, but the terms of their contract will be $50,000 a year for the Adidas space, and an additional $20,000 a year in Adidas merchandise. This would be for 5 years in exchange for the retail space. Also, Trey Young Family Foundation has to do full build out of the store, which is quite expensive. Part of the agreement that YFAC, all the employees in YFAC, which is our city employees, not the hospital employees, would have to wear Adidas brand clothing, which is probably not terrible, but they can wear plain clothing. You're just not allowed to wear a branding of another.
Like no Nike.
Yeah, you can't wear Nike or Under Armour or something like that. So they would have to come to work in either Adidas or non-marked clothing.
I was gonna say, I noticed that, the Optimus group, that now they're gonna have to wear jerseys that are being provided by the Trey Young Foundation.
Yeah, and those are all Adidas jerseys.
And then after the first year, then everybody will have to buy from the Adidas store, I assume. Is that what's?
It depends. I think that the Trey Young gets so much merchandise per year from Adidas, and those were at no cost to the Trey Young family, and there's a chance that might continue. So I don't know if it's whatever their plans are, but if it not, it'd probably be a Adidas jersey that you buy from the store. But I don't think they're looking to make a whole lot of profit off those. So, if you buy a branded practice clothing, I would imagine those pants or the shorts and jersey would probably cost you somewhere about $60-$75. And if Adidas gives it to him, it's going to be much cheaper. So when we expanded our LED screen in the gym from 64 feet to 74 feet and knocked up the resolution 1K, The Young Family offered to give us $75,000, which pays most of that difference. Young Family also will office out of, the Young Family Foundation will have an office, and their address will be the WIFAC. They also want to have one employee in there that works for the foundation, but this employee also will help us with operations in addition to working for the foundation. They also want to donate 2 basketball courts / futsal courts in the back. We think the cost of those, last time that we checked price, is somewhere in the $350,000 range. So we're asking them for a $400,000 not to exceed amount. Once we get completely done with the construction of those basketball courts, we'll give them back whatever money we don't use. And I'm not sure if y'all have seen the outdoor recreation master plan, but those are the pictures that are next. So you look at the area, and this is between the building and the airport. You start at the south end, you see 2 basketball courts. Those are also futsal courts. And made this comment to council a little bit earlier. We went up and visited Scissortail in the middle of the day one day with some of our park staff. The only thing that was busy in the middle of the day in the whole park was the futsal courts. So we're kind of interested in getting those there and open to our public and let them use that. We have a shaded area, like a picnic area, so if you're playing in a tournament and you need to go out and relax, you don't necessarily have to stay in the building. You can go out there and hang out. 6 pickleball courts, we see these as pretty important. It's basically because the pickleball community is very demanding and they want some space, and hopefully a majority of time we can move them outside to use those courts. And part of our agreement, which I didn't mention earlier, is if the city builds a shaded area, the pickleball courts, and then everything north of that is the hospital. So if the hospital builds the volleyball courts and the turf area, that's when Young Family would build the basketball courts. You see it way on there on the north end, which is just a hope and a dream. It's basically an area to put weights and work out. We don't have any of that area currently right there, and we don't have any plans of who would own that or build that. It could be the Trey Young Family Foundation, it could be city, it could be hospital. We really don't know. So just a couple more pictures to kind of wrap it up. Love to take questions. Love to go back over that policy and have a little bit of conversation. Discussion, there we go, about
Destruction.
You mean 12 p.m. to 4 on Sundays, right?
So 12 a.m. to 4.
it's Miss Brent.
Nope.
So the public schools are going to pay the city $50,000 to use it for the whole year,
Correct.
for those set amount of hours.
Yeah, so that basically gives them permission. We're not putting a whole lot of limits on the school on practice hours. They can use that. So that's for mainly the swimming pool, but also they can use the basketball or volleyball areas for practice camps or training areas for middle school, high school teams. We've discussed taking over their developmental basketball for league for their middle schools, which is if you don't know anything about Norman Public Schools, at their 4 middle schools, they don't cut any basketball players on their teams. They just have so many. They have an basically a varsity, junior varsity, and then they have a developmental league. So we would take over that developmental league and have that out at the YFAC, which would help relieve their small gym spaces they have out at the schools.
What's a developmental league?
This is basically anybody that didn't make the varsity or junior varsity team, and they're in middle school aged, from Whittier, Irving, Longfellow, or Alcott.
So the Norman Pro Schools part, so are they gonna have swim teams?
They do have swim teams, yes. Currently, they practice out at OU.
Okay.
And from what I understand, they pay about $35,000 a year for lane time out there. What's interesting about the Norman Public Schools is $50,000. So this would be a 7-year contract. Basically, gets us through 2031. When they undid the TIF that was in the UMP area, there was $350,000 that was set aside for the schools, specifically for rental of the swim. They called it the swim and gym complex back then. So it's basically, it's gonna be at no cost, that money's sitting in an account, and the only thing that money that can be used for is for rental at the YFAC, and we have to use it all by 2031, or it goes away. But we are, so that is basically just gonna drain that account, and then we're probably enter into a new agreement in 2031, which I don't know what the value of anything will be then. I don't even know if I'll be here then, but so, good luck. So, yeah, on this one, and we kind of talked about this with council, I think they're both very interesting in their own different ways. We do, the first one we're offering to be open 84 hours a week. This one we're offering to be open 80 hours, or the one where we're giving 100 hours to be open exactly 80 hours a week.
But, okay, as I look at this one that's 12 to 4, that's 208 hours a year. And then versus 100 hours of community?
Yeah, so the difference would be between the Sundays, if we use the other plan, we're gonna try to sneak in some open community hours. It's just where anybody in the community, we're not gonna check IDs, anybody can come play. It's very accessible. It doesn't matter what your income is. If you can get over there when we have those open gym hours, you can come play, you can come swim. The other plan is our open community hours will be not at 100 hours, which is averages somewhere around, I think it was about 8 hours a week, where we're trying to hit having an open gym hours at some point or time.
Okay.
That this lowers our possibilities of doing complete open accessibility, and that those Sundays will be reserved for members or people that are paying a fee to be in there.
But people won't know what these hours are.
Not in advance time. Well, we would advertise them when we had those times. It's not like
Where, if you do the 12 to 4,
yes. But the 12 to 4 will be for members.
That's not
okay.
community,
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I understood.
If we close on Sundays and to our members, and then there'll be a couple Sundays a month that we will be open, then anybody can come to it. You don't have to be a member.
So the building will more than likely be open on Sunday because of tournaments, but it won't be open to the public on Sundays, is what you're saying, right?
Not unless we have our public open gym.
Yeah, okay.
What's the staff recommending?
We prefer this plan, where we have 100 hours of community open gym swim, because we think we're gonna be there somewhere in the neighborhood. We're gonna try to offer it, but this is just more accessible to the public. Anybody, it doesn't matter how much you make, or you just have to get there to play basketball or pickleball or swim.
And the other option isn't really offering that at all, or just not as many free hours?
Just not as many free hours.
Whereas this is about 8 hours a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are, so like, if Sooner Swim wanted to swim on Sundays, it doesn't affect these hours? Okay, that's all I was just curious. Okay.
And two, what council is suggesting that we take this can be amended, or we can bring it back to you next month, is removed or planned activities from that original part, so it's just passive. Basically, make sure that we have time for anybody to come play at an open gym at any time they want to, or open swim. A lot of pack in your head, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I'm doing a great job of
So
explaining.
the 70 hours per week is for members?
General
Or the other,
public,
yeah, okay.
general public, right? Basically, it's general, it should be general public operating hours and serviceability, is that what that would be? Okay. I was confused the other day at that meeting.
So committing to have the center available for members, for passive, da-da-da-da.
Yeah, y'all can edit this however you.
No, I'm just
you see
making sure I
fit.
understand it, yeah. And then the 100 is for anybody, whether you're a member or not. Okay,
Fully accessible, that we would hit a minimum of 100 hours per year.
yeah. I do like that promise of that.
The 100 hours?
Yeah, I do.
I just keep going to what Chris, though, last time was saying about the Sundays
Right.
is my
I did-
only,
I did suggest this to Chris. Chris
well, did
was
you?
okay with it.
With the 100,
We were
Or-
just talking about promising one day a month or 4 hours a month to open, but exceeds that. This is, like you said, about 8 hours
Yeah.
yeah.
a month that we're
Yeah, I'm
commit
trying
to
to
have it
wrap my-
open to anybody that wants to come play.
So that could be, for example, a couple of Sundays a month.
That would be our ideal area to hit, is those Sundays when we're not having tournaments. Our other ideal situations, probably hitting a Friday or Saturday evening when we don't have a tournament as well, and doing a community working. There's a lot of communities that work with their police departments to help get youth in there to do activities and what they, on a weekend to, it's a great community service opportunity and getting people in and out of the gym, run some energy off,
Yeah.
for sure.
Team up with Big Brothers Big Sisters, all those organizations, yeah. Boy, whoever operates this is gonna have a lot of varying schedules to balance.
Oh, yeah, they're working, we got one full-time guy on pool, we got one full-time guy on gym, and they're, even though we're not open, man, they're pumping away at this a lot of their time, trying to figure out these schedules, working with our partners and trying to recruit tournaments as well. It's lots of balance.
So what do you want from us?
I want a recommendation. I want y'all to prefer one over the other, and we probably want an edit of, if y'all are willing to do it this month. If not, we can come back in January. But what do y'all think about just making it passive activities instead of or planned?
I'm fine with that.
Because our or planned was talking about making sure, if we were talking about planned activities, that was anything that would be open up to our community members, like swim lessons or master swim, YFAC basketball and volleyball leagues. We were considering that into the 70 hours, but council wants us to push out a little bit farther and have an open gym or open swim lane or an open pool lane, the 70 hours.
And that feels doable
Yeah, we
combined
think
with
we
all
can-
the other goals?
We think it's possible.
Okay.
So will somebody be counting the hours to see if you can hit
Our
your 100?
schedule will reflect those hours, so if anybody asks about it, we can go back
Keep
and
track of it.
produce our schedules for those weeks.
It's never open when I go home in there.
There, into our programming, if you look at our it's Vermont, which is our recreation software, it goes into pretty far detail on every gym space that we have and swim lanes as well. We're able to produce, probably won't be able to, it won't tell us when our open gym is, but it'll tell us when we have an occupied activity in there.
Would the extra hours, would they be somewhat regular so people can kind of rely on it? Or would it just be so random that nobody can ever tell and then somebody's
So
working and
when we
not
come out with a
concerned?
monthly schedule, and Veronica might have an opinion on this, when we come out with a monthly schedule, which would be well in advance of time, that it would be clearly listed.
Okay.
I'm
Like
not
on the
sure, I'm not
website.
sure if it would
Announced
be
one evening,
consistent.
oh, we're open tomorrow, it won't be
Yeah,
that.
it's gonna be scheduled. Everything's really, if you go back and look at our swim practice times, our swim class times, our homeschool open times, and you look into the gym, you have walking, exercise classes, practices, tournaments, leagues.
Yeah.
We got everything pretty well detailed as it is right now.
I
So
think
we'll know well ahead of time when open gym is.
You can fit it in.
I was at the meeting the other day and they were talking about how surprisingly everything's almost already booked.
Oh, I figured that was gonna happen,
Time was pretty much booked.
yeah.
Yeah, we didn't think we were gonna get any this year, but there are these things called live periods for basketball. And I think I've talked to you all about that before, but it's when these shoe brands come to, they have 4 weeks a year, they can come and do tournaments, and these shoe brands have these tournaments, and all your college coaches come to these, are allowed to talk to the athletes, so they'll come in there. We didn't think we were gonna get any the first year, and we've booked 2 so far, which is very surprising. There's a lot of interest in this, and we've talked to every shoe brand that runs a tournament, and they're all interested in this place. It's really nice compared to what most places have.
Big gym.
So is there a recommendation.
I'll recommend we go with this.
With the 100 hours.
Hours of free.
And with the,
time.
and with the adjustment of elimination of or planned activities?
Sure.
So just saying passive, taking out or planned activities.
Or planned. Yeah, taking out or planned, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you need the activities
Need the
in there, don't you?
activities.
Okay, so,
So nix the plan, right? Nixing the planned activities. I'll second that.
okay, so is everybody clear that we're looking at the one minimum of 100 hours and taking out or planned? So it just says for passive activities at an average of 70 hours per week. Okay, all those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Okay, are you?
That's awesome. Any questions about any of the contracts with the Young Family or Beanstalk? We're pretty happy with both of those, and I will say, as a Parks Department, you're not usually talking to people about leasing space at market rate. It's a new experience for us. Yeah, so.
Has there been vandalism or theft going on over there? I just noticed every time I go by, there's a police car, and then there's that police car was in that picture.
You're like killing our secret here, Cheryl. Well, there's it's a car that the police parked out there to help deter.
Well, I would just say, I've noticed it every time I go by that.
Like somebody's trying to do some vandalizing and she keeps getting chased off.
noticed.
Well, that's been noticed.
Earlier in the project, we, now that the building's closed off, we have zero problems, but when it was still accessible, people were stealing tools and copper and stuff, and the contractor was asking for help, and that's what we offered.
And will there be security on site during all of this going on, or is that something
Depending on
that's-
the event. We plan to lock up the building and have a whole lot of security cameras, so.
Okay, I did.
I think that would be a good idea.
Well, there won't be anybody, security-wise while it's open?
Not normally. During our open times, there won't. So when you normally, the Optimists usually hired an off-duty police officer or sheriff deputy to be out there. We don't necessarily have to do that. Usually our police department plays nice with us, and if we ask for an officer, they'll send it out. It's been one of our ongoing requests to the police department and to the city manager. Has not been accepted yet, but we have asked for two kind of in a similar, kind of way off subject here, so hopefully I don't get myself in trouble, but similar to what a student resource officer is, we've asked for park resource officers, asking for 2 police officers to be specifically assigned to parks. And we'll keep asking for that, and hopefully we'll get that one of these days. And if that happens, we'll probably have security at the pool, security at YFAC, occasional security for all those crazy seniors out at the adult wellness center. Just depending on where we need them.
The crazy seniors, huh? Okay.
This is a good question.
Yeah, I was just
But you've got
curious.
cameras and stuff, so.
So we think we'll have the daddy-daughter dance there?
Eventually, most definitely, yes. Yes, we
Well,
will.
I know.
Okay.
I'll have to charge at the end of this week.
I will move to item number 7, annual presentation from Westwood Family Aquatic Center.
Okay, well, I'll follow James. Hi, I'm Veronica. I'm the recreation manager. Excited to talk to you about the Westwood Family Aquatic Center and give our annual report. So, this is a fun picture we like to show from a exciting event that our aquatics manager has instituted with his staff called Let It Glow, which is one of our now most popular events, where they put LED lights inside and outside the slides and all over the park and make it a really cool black light and glow night for folks. So one of our favorite evenings of the year. So let's talk about attendance first. As you can see, we are steadily climbing back up from kind of a little bit of a low spot in programs and total attendance in 2022. and moving back up steadily in special events. Open swim was a little lower than 2022, but in all other areas, special events, aquatic programs, and remember our special events are free to our wonderful season pass holders. So a lot of that attendance is from those folks. So our total attendance at ending this year is 130,000 folks.
Is there anything clear that's based on those numbers on like open swim, like something competition, or is there another pool that maybe you're thinking there?
You know, we have anecdotal thoughts about it. Last year, there was a really strong COVID spike right as the pool season started, which was interesting and we thought might have affected numbers last year. But you can never really be too sure. There hasn't been a lot of municipal pools opened in the last 3 years, so not that I know of. So I'm not sure that it's surrounding competition.
Weather, maybe?
Weather could be a factor for sure.
Oh, that's right, we had a lot of rain, didn't we?
Well, no, we had a lot of hot days, because I can remember seeing on Facebook, somebody would say, oh, the pool's closed because the concrete's too hot. And I'm sitting there going, the pool's not closed because the concrete's too hot. You know, it just,
Yeah, we had a lot of hot days, and the year before, we didn't for sure. So that's a factor too. I remember 2022 was a big rainy season, so definitely could be a
Could
factor.
be like people are traveling in the summer again.
Yep.
For vacations.
Absolutely, we've thought the COVID comfort, COVID is over, post-COVID travel bump could have been a factor this summer too. So lots of anecdotal thoughts.
We saw
but-
this with golf too, is immediately after COVID, you saw a spike and everybody wanted to get back out. And then it started, kind of like Veronica said, everybody started doing regular things again this past summer.
how do these compare to like when the pool first opened? Do you have any idea what the?
That's a good question. I do, and we've kept numbers since the pool's
Right.
opened, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
could definitely bring that back. Offhand, I'm not super sure. Jason, do you have thoughts about that?
The first year, I think we went pretty gangbusters, had great high numbers. And the year after that, I think, if I remember right, did we have 1 or 2 years before COVID, but opened in 2018.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, and then,
Seasons and then COVID.
everything messed up during COVID. We were closed weeks at a time or a week at a time because lifeguards got sick or got infected, and then we try to go back to the following year where everybody was wearing masks and everything like that. So it kind of fluctuates. You'll definitely see higher numbers, and then once you bounce out of COVID, I think you see a way high number. And then we're probably going back to what it should be now. Everything's kind of regulating or being regulated.
Leveling out, yeah, for sure. And Sam, along those lines with passes and swim lessons, we saw a huge bump in swim lessons this year, which is really exciting. Swim lessons were sold out, and we kept adding sessions. So hopefully that means good things about folks being comfortable bringing their little children back into programs post-COVID as well. Swim lessons is one of those programs where you're really close to other people, and so that's one of those things that definitely dipped down during that time as well. So we are excited to see our lessons and programming pick back up. In terms of scholarships, about 2,100 this year. And this is our season financial report. You will notice one weird anecdote in 2023. There was it looks to be no revenue brought in for special events, but that's not true. It's just some digging that I need to do with our finance department to see which line item that funding actually got put into. And same with lockers as well. We've changed the way we're processing lockers, and so I need to kind of investigate where those line items went. And I suspect that they are probably somewhere in the pool pass or gate admission realm. So,
And it's just from my experience with Vermont. Somebody goes in there and works behind, which is our point of sale system. Somebody goes in there and changes one thing, and it accidentally changes the GL code and all something. Also, when you push a button, it's not going where it's supposed to. It gets dumped somewhere else.
My kids this year complained about the lockers. Was this the first year you had
it is the first year that we've instituted this new locker system.
and it cost them more to go get a locker than it did for their pool pass for the year.
Yes, and
They
we
were upset about it.
we need to find out a way to get season pass holders free lockers, and we'll work on that for this year for sure. We heard we need bigger lockers. These lockers don't suffice. We can't fit our stuff in there, so we got bigger lockers, but we did not do well with figuring out a way to get those to season pass holders in a way that made sense. So we will have the time to figure out that this year
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah, that was the one complaint that my kids had about the pool was that.
Yeah. I've heard that for sure. We will fix that this year. But they are bigger, so come and bring your whole bag. But yeah, we'll figure that out.
One step at a time, right?
Yes. Expenditures, of course, salaries is always our biggest. Hiring 120-ish lifeguards and assistant managers and managers to run the pool is no small feat for HR or for our aquatic manager for sure. And that is definitely our most costly expenditure out at Westwood Family Aquatic Center. Along with maintenance, of course. It's very pricey to maintain an aquatic center, especially an outdoor one. So those are our highest expenditures always, and definitely we're maintaining that right here in 2023. Our total revenue for the year, 208,000. So way different. 208,000. So
So I like to point out the revenue. I would never, when we opened up this pool in 2019, I would never think that we would cross the
To be in the
six
black.
figure. I know. Well, we're always been in the black, but
The pool's always been in the black.
the six figure for a 90-day operation for us to hit $1 million is crazy.
It's fantastic.
Do you
Yep.
think you'll see a drop because of the YFAC being open this summer?
It's definitely a question that we're asking ourselves, which is why we are definitely maintaining a high level of focus on programming. We're hoping that the programming that we've built at Westwood Family Aquatic Center that people know and love, their aerobics programs, their special events that they're coming to, just the ability to be outdoors in the summer, we're hoping that people still need that in their lives so much that maybe they'll get memberships to both. And definitely we'll have programming aspects at YFAC that will draw people there too, of course. But we are thinking about ways to be innovative even more with programming and what we offer at Westwood so that we can keep people coming back every year.
We also worked very hard during the design of the YFAC to make sure that the large
Like
lap
fun.
pool was competition based, not really recreation based. Because we definitely want to make sure that we don't hurt one business because of another business.
Yeah. Okay, and this is our wonderful team. So I said 120, but last year we hired over 140 seasonal employees. So HR starts working on that in February with our staff, and it is no small feat. So these are some of the happy folks that work out there all summer that we can definitely thank for keeping it a wonderful place for people to go to. Okay, and like I said, our programs are definitely what keep people coming back. The Saturday toddler time where you can come and you can have, grandma walking in the water while you're hanging out with your toddler. Really, we aim to serve the whole family every day at Westwood, and that is never going to stop. One thing that I want to highlight is our Teen Aquatic Safety Program, and this is a new program as of last year. We've always had those teenagers that come to the pool by themselves on their own with groups of friends, and they're ready to swim, ready to hang out, but sometimes the problems from school can bleed over into the summer, and that can lead to issues at the pool with friends, police interactions based on those issues, and we have seen a lot of those in the past years. And so this year our aquatic manager, along with some of his head management staff, came up with this program where teenagers would come and they would go through a couple weeks of safety training, including rules, including how to listen, what the lifeguard whistles mean, what the different whistles means, every rule that we could think of to teach them and how to behave around water safely. We taught them. And this year, as compared to the last season, they saw almost 0 teen police incidents. So I would say they found a way to take something that was happening, really kind of negative and impacting the day-to-day environment at the pool, and staff found a way to turn it into a positive program that makes a difference in families' lives. So major kudos to them. We even had a teenager that was in the program that had a seizure incident at the pool. And because she had taken the safety program and we had her contact information, her friends knew what to do in the situation. Her parent was called immediately, and her parents were already there before the ambulance got there. So we are doing, I think, amazing things with every age group out there in just 90 days. It's incredible to me.
Well, but didn't y'all also institute the fact that the teen couldn't be there by themselves unless they had taken that program?
That's part of it. That's the biggest part of it. Absolutely. So it teaches you safety, but also, unless you come learn the safety, unless you're a certain age, you're not coming there alone. So, yeah, major difference. Okay, so yeah, some of our special events that we offer to the community. Free scuba lessons in partnership with Warriors for Freedom and Blue Water Dive served 120 veteran participants this year. And then we have this really great program that we've been working with Sooner Success to offer an inclusive swim on a day for just their clients, where they come and we remove some of those sensory barriers, turn down the music, and just make it a really easy and fun day at the pool for them, and make them feel comfortable in a space where they may not have been before. These are just some of our special events. We talked about Let It Glow. We had a wonderful 5-year celebration this summer where we had $5 admission all day and the pool was sold out. It was a great day. But yeah, these are some of our staff and the fun special events they put on. And then this is our aquatic manager's favorite slide. Last but not least, always the budget ask that he loves to talk about. Private cabanas and the Flow Rider. This is James Briggs' favorite potential budget ask also. That's always in his capital request every year. But we do want to remind everyone that the pool was built to grow. There is space and there's opportunity, and we make these budget asks on a regular basis, and at some point they will be at the priority level that we will get to build them. But just so you know, we do have big plans for the Aquatic Center, and it's not just going to be status quo forever. Eventually we'll get to keep growing.
What does the Flow Rider cost?
James?
Current budget request is 1.7 million.
Gotta shake the couch cushions, really.
Yeah. Hard for me to say that number out loud.
Yeah, I was just curious what it.
Questions, concerns, thoughts, suggestions?
It's exciting.
Does the revenue go back into, like,
The general fund.
No.
Oh, no, it's a
stays
special
in all
revenue
Westwood.
fund. Yeah, yes, that's right. It's a special.
didn't know
revenue
if
fund.
eventually, after so long, you can buy the wave?
Flow Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
We want that from capital money.
the Westwood Fund, usually the pool is a couple $100,000 positive, and the golf course is a couple $100,000 negative, so it usually averages out.
Oh, I guess that's me, right? Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you.
Number 8, Norman Forward update.
We had a little YFAC in North Port. I don't even know the slides are in this, so let's roll.
Let's do it.
Oh, there we go. We had a ribbon cutting in November at the Adult Wellness and Education. This place is, and Cheryl can testify to this because I know she's over there all the time, but this place is awesome. It's exceeding our expectations. So our operators, Healthy Living, said that they wanted 1,000 members within their first year of operation. I thought they were bananas. They have 900 members in their first month of operation.
wow.
So they're gonna
Not even a
exceed
month
that.
yet. That's awesome.
They think they will get to 1,000 members probably Saturday, if not early next week.
Oh, that's awesome.
And,
Okay, I'll go join.
We're working on a.
Sure you will.
Pressure.
I'm for the ones and ones that are watching on the Facebooks right now. If you're the thousandth member, we're working on a prize of some kind for you. But if you haven't checked it out, please go take a look. This is our public art, one of our public art projects that's happened inside there. So when we looked at this place and we knew that our public art was going to run a little bit late, and the public art is that big flower that's going to be out front and it's translucent, pretty dang cool. But we walked inside the pool, and we know that how important this is, how long our seniors in our community waited for this building, which is over 10 years. We walked in that pool area, and we saw a pretty white, boring area, and so we reached out to our Norman Arts Council, which is, we like to think that our relationship's great, even better after this. She hopped on the opportunity immediately to find us, or suggested a mural in there, and she even had a few ideas who to pick, because we just interviewed for murals of our development center. So this is awesome. Tiffany McKnight painted this, and
Anj Brads.
there we go, from Tulsa, both local artists. And if you walk in there, it livens up the space. It makes it live and vibrant and not as boring. It's also very warm because we have to keep the temperature within so many degrees of the pool. But you walk in there and you see that sun, and it feels like the sun in there. So awesome fun place. It's getting used to its fullest right now. Very proud of that, and very proud of our whole adult wellness area.
And on the east wall, where those glass windows are, there's all the way down is
It's
more
beautiful.
mural also.
And the sun shines just right.
Oh, yeah. So if you're there during the day, the sun's going through there, and as you can tell, Miss Tiffany, when she painted that, she kind of themed it in with the color of our windows that goes along. It's perfect. You couldn't have dreamed up or imagined something better that fits that situation.
And actually, right now, the sun's not coming through those.
Freaking fall.
Yeah, I know. It's just that time of day. I mean, it's right at the corner of the building, and it's not coming through those glass windows yet.
Probably nice.
Yeah.
Earlier Thursday this week, we opened up a new art piece out at Reese Park. It's what's it called, James? I don't want to mess it up.
Meccan 14.
So it's a
Mechanical Man 14.
tell James, go into this about Norman's the robot capital of the world and the polling that we did.
It's our goal
Okay.
to become the robot capital of the world because based on a super scientific survey, apparently, in asking everyone on Earth, 99% of the people love robots, and that 1%, they really, really like robots. So, based on that kind of input, we're going to try and get as many robots as we can in Norman, starting with this one. And you can see his eyes glowing from afar as you drive down Constitution, and yeah, it can switch. We don't have a picture. It'll switch hats and accessories to be the medieval knight robot. It's in home run Meccan form right now with the baseball hat, with Team R for either Reeves or Robot, who knows, and a baseball bat in its hand. But then it'll have a knight's helmet and a broadsword in its hand in the march as we get up to medieval fair. But yeah.
So they ran a naming contest on this. Gabriel Bird, our local downtown dentist, won the contest. It's Meccan 14. N is the 14th number or the letter in the alphabet. So it matched up very nicely. This robot faced east, which I think is really cool. So every year when we do our fireworks for both Juneteenth and 4th of July, our robot will be watching that. You see the heart there in the middle. That's actually, that represents the heart of Norman. And if you were 7 or 8 foot tall, you would be able to see in there. And that's a mirror. So it reflects exactly what it sees.
And the eyes light up at night.
Yeah.
The thing is so cool.
Is it
How
solar
are
powered?
they? I was gonna
No.
say, how are they lit?
Hardwired into a breaker box off to the north to give away all of our secrets. They've got a timer,
It's
photo
magic.
cell. Yeah.
Oh, it's on timer.
Robot power. I mean, it's got a steam engine in there. I go and refill it every night. I got to relight the fire every night.
Little robot sounds.
Very, very proud of our robot out at Reese Park.
Confetti, biodegradable.
Yes,
Make
the
sure you
geese
just
came and
check
ate
it
it
out.
immediately.
And whoever took that picture
That big guy there with a broom.
perfectly timed our confetti cannon, and
It's just
it made me laugh because our chief of police was all the way at the other end, and I think he got hit by every piece of confetti. That
Nice.
Confetti that fell
confetti.
in the way.
It's
Yeah.
funny, James, you look like you have something in your mouth.
Hanging out of your
Yeah. That's throwing up robot bolts.
That's it.
Is that it for Norman? Anybody have questions about Norman Forward updates?
Not as long as it used to be. We're
Just
starting
get
to
some
wind
new
down.
stuff.
Yeah, we're ready for the second round after we rest a couple days.
Okay, divisional updates, number 9. Who's going first?
I will go first. I know you guys can't wait to hear about our big time holiday weekend. It is here. So this weekend is just a holiday fest all over town. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have events going on at different places to celebrate the holidays. So first on Friday night, definitely first and foremost, our Andrews Park community tree lighting, always our most loved downtown holiday event. We will start at 5:30, and we will have some performances from the Sooner Theater and a couple other folks, definitely a surprise host. And we'll have, the library will be coming over, as you know that it's closed due to some remediation of mold. And so normally we will carol over to the library, have hot cocoa, do pictures with Santa in the library. This year that will all happen in the park. So we are excited to do that with our friends Pioneer Library System as always. Can't wait for that. So we'll light the tree pretty close to 6 o'clock, but everything starts about 5:30. And then Saturday is our Winterfest over at Legacy Park, our holiday fireworks show. That starts at 7 o'clock for the fireworks, but activities start at 5:30. So please come earlier than that to enjoy hot cocoa, some of our wonderful local vendors, and other activities. And then also at Winterfest, we've got the wonderful big band Talk of the Town performing, and they are such a wonderful holiday treat. So come visit them as well. And then Sunday morning, if you're not too tired from Winterfest, we hope that you will get up and come back to Legacy Park at 9 a.m. for an ugly sweater run. As always, there's lots of competitions for ugliest ugly sweater. So hopefully someone here at the table has the ugliest thing we've ever seen and wants to do some running on Sunday.
At Legacy Park.
At Legacy Park, yeah, we've got a new
not
course.
Ruby Grant.
Not Ruby Grant. We're switching it up this year a little bit. We've got a wonderful course that goes around the Legacy Park area that people seem to love a lot. So that's where we're doing it this year. We also have a winter break camp going on at 12th Avenue in Irving, and that is, as always, with our camps, $25 per day per child, December 21st, 22nd, 27th, 29th, and then January 2nd and 3rd. So there's lots of little actual holiday day breaks in there, but it is the rest of the normal schools break. And then for people who may not need full break childcare, but maybe you need to do some Christmas shopping, we have Santa's Night Out happening at 12th Avenue on December 11th, and that's from 6 to 9. So drop your kiddos, we will feed them and give them lots of sugary goodies to come home to you after you shop. And the price is $15 per child for that. We've talked a lot about YFAC tonight. Tell your friends that the YFAC Youth Basketball League is open for registration if they ask. If you need to sign up, it's yfac.com/youthleagues. So the website is active. We are registering people. Please do that sooner rather than later if you're interested in joining that.
It gets more expensive if you wait, so keep going.
What was the date of the Santa's Night Out thing?
December 11th.
Okay, sorry.
At 12th Avenue.
Monday, right?
Monday night. And then we have now our Daddy Daughter Dance and Mom Prom tickets on sale. We always try to sell those before Christmas so that people can have lovely stocking stuffers. And we do have some commemorative tickets to offer for folks who want to give those out for Christmas presents this year. So Embassy Suites for Daddy Daughter Dance this year, but we'll see about next. And then and the date for that is February 10th. And then Mom Prom is going to be May 4th, 2024 at the Noun, and those tickets are on sale also. And then last but not least, we have an update to our current Senior Center, 329 South Peter Senior Center, those hours. So as of December 11th, Monday through Friday hours are shifting a little bit. We are changing to 8 to noon for the last 2 weeks of the year. And then that's it. We are closed to the public at that facility. And we are currently, as you know, working on a contract for Abbott House for the majority of the building, and then Aging Services to keep the kitchen and dining room space in that building. And that contract will hopefully be coming to council in December
They won't be serving people over there in the dining space, will they?
They will not. They will
Okay, I
be,
didn't think-
they will be having staff kind of housed out of that area,
Okay.
and they will still cook in the kitchen, and then they'll prepare meals. They have the frozen meals happening out of there that they're picking up and delivering. But they will start serving at the Adult Wellness and Education Center on Finley on Monday.
Yeah, the 11th, Monday.
That's all for me.
Park development, Bentley Park, new neighborhood park is ongoing. They just finished construction of the pickleball and tennis courts. We'll finish those up, surfacing as weather comes back around. You gotta have 55 degrees and rising to finish that off, but the major construction there is done. Next up is the playground, the picnic pavilion, and the trails, and site furnishings, all that through the winter. And we'll let you know well ahead of time when we have a ribbon cutting in the spring. For that, Sunrise Park and Falls Lakeview are both out for bid for their new playground replacements in those two parks. And then some other touch-ups to those parks to kind of get them in line with our Norman Ford goal to renovate each one of our neighborhood parks. They're the next up. Sutton Wilderness Trail and parking lot project continues. They're starting to put down the final top surface, the more fine material on the trail this week, and have started clearing space for the new parking lot addition over there off of 12th Avenue at the trailhead. So that'll keep on going again through the winter as weather permits. You know, you got to get temperatures and things right. So here we talked about the robot at Reeves Park. Also reviewing plans for the new restroom building over by the playground in Reeves Park. We tore down the old one, and we're gonna have a new one up here hopefully for this next warm season coming up. Forestry, it's time of year to plant and plant trees, trim trees, do all that. We're doing that in the downtown area and Campus Corner, planting trees in many locations in parks and public landscape areas. Getting ready to embark on an inventory of all the trees and all the public spaces, parks, and all of the public land, and doing an ordinance review with Davy Tree Service. Andrew's master plan presented to council last night or Tuesday night, and we'll take it forward for a full adoption at council level in January for them to have a placeholder for that Norman Ford 2 we all dream of. So talk of making that sort of like the feature project, like much like Westwood Family Aquatics was like the big start for the Norman Ford 1. Have Andrew's going to try and get that funded and really pushed as a crown jewel of Norman Ford 2. The Bethany and the team designing the new park at Carter and Alameda are setting up continuing meetings and review of that plan, and as soon as we're done getting that, we'll have it presented and get it out to bid to build a new we call it stormwater park, but whatever we end up naming that one at Carter and Alameda. Other things, Saxon Park, we'll get an ad hoc committee meeting coming up soon there. Historic House, once we get back into good weather, we'll rebid the painting and some porch repairs. Just the bids came in high. And then the park system master plan is part of the whole AIM Norman planning process that we're going through, so got a lot of meetings with that too. And stuff.
They like us for the work a lot of evenings.
Yeah, they like meetings.
Stand
Wade?
up in the back, since I'm kind of down the road.
Right.
If you listen to those two, you can kind of hear what we're doing in the background with the events, and I keep telling James to find artists who show up and can do all their own work, but that doesn't always happen.
That's Aaron Gavigan, so put that in the minutes.
Artists aren't geared that way.
So, no, so we help them and assist with the events and with some of the artist stuff and some of the even tree removals and stuff for like downtown and, we removed those two out of the tree rows.
Faculty,
Campus Corner.
Campus Corner and Faculty Heights.
Yeah, and then we've been taking care of a few things. If you've been to Saxon lately, there's a new tin horn where it washed out over the summer, I think, where it rained. We finally got everything kind of organized and got some help from Stormwater to help us with that. Just kind of Christmas was a big one for November. Obviously, once December's over, we'll get back and take it down. But then we're kind of just taking care of some of those pesky little jobs that take some time. If you've been by the skate park, we refinished it. We've been doing little maintenance like that on some of our fences and some of our other areas that we don't get a chance to during the summer. So.
Hey, I need y'all to help me remove some bike racks and get them up to the.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And they've been helping a lot with YFAC projects here and there as things get delivered and need to be put together, installed.
Moved a couple of kilns out of the old senior center.
Oh God, I won't have this guy over there. We did that, huh? Okay.
That was
And two, I'll add to divisional updates, as we've mentioned to y'all a few times, and I know y'all know, we're also in charge of building and maintenance and construction for the whole city. We have the, good or bad, sometimes it's worse. We have the most buildings of any department in the city, so we get building maintenance. So everything that's happening currently with the library, we're working with that in our department. So everything keeps us, a lot of things, keeps us busy.
Who paid to put the OU banners down Main Street?
That was Visit Norman.
Did
To
you all
put
have
the
to,
what?
did you all have to install them though?
We did Main Street and Streets did Lindsay.
Okay.
And then
The
put
OU banners? Oh, okay.
once we
Visit
take
Norman
the
paid
wreaths down,
for
we'll
the
put
cost
City
of
of
it.
Norman ones back up.
Okay, thank you. Lots going on. Always, seems like. Miscellaneous items. Anybody miscellaneous? No? Okay, next is public comments. I won't go through my little spiel that I did last, read the whole thing. Adjournment. Thank you, everyone.
You.